If anyone was the fifth Beatle, it was Brian.
The manager's name is Brian Epstein. Now, I'm terribly sorry he can't take any calls right now. He's waiting for a call from London.
Brian was a beautiful guy, Brian Epstein, and he was an intuitive, theatrical guy, and he knew we had something, and he presented us well.
Beatles' new record is in the top 10.
Gosh, fantastic. That's marvellous.
Climbing fast. Well, it's at number 7 already.
I think it's going to number 1, actually. That's marvellous.
Brian had this shop, and, you know, it was good. We used to pick up the records, and he had this big Zephyr Zodiac, and he wanted to manage us, and we weren't going anywhere anyway, so, you know, he said, yes, you might as well.
Brian, how did the discovery of the Beatles come about? How did they enter into your life?
I heard about them through a lad who was asking for a record by them in one of my stores. I hadn't had anything to do with pop management of pop artists before that day that I went down to the Cavern Club and heard the Beatles playing. And this was quite a new world, really, for me. The Beatles were then just 4 lads on that rather dimly lit stage, somewhat ill-clad, and the presentation was, well, left a little to be desired as far as I was concerned, because I've been interested in the theatre and acting for a long time. But amongst all that, something tremendous came over, and I was immediately struck by their music, their beat, and their sense of humour, actually, on stage. And even afterwards, when I met them, I was struck again by their personal charm. And it was there that really it all started.
Brian Epstein, the man who built the Beatles into a cult, is now as well known as they are. And next week his book, called A Cellar Full of Noise, is published. I noticed, going through the book, that you're always referring to the Beatles as us and we. You know, how much do you identify yourself with them?
This is strange, actually, because in the beginning I was very fierce about the business of the manager not being known at all. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but it's just happened to me, actually. Hello again from Hullabaloo, London. We've got a very special guest who's come down today, and the reason why he's come is to talk about 4 young men called the Beatles. They start work next week on their new film, and the director of that new film is the man who so very successfully directed for us last year, A Hard Day's Night. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Lester. Richard, what do you think we could tell them about the new Beatles pick?
Well, first of all, it's going to be different from the last one. It will be in colour. It will be a film that has a lot of plot and a lot of entertainment about it, and Ringo's in trouble again.
I'm very much a Beatle fan. In fact, I've always realised this, that I've always been right since I've known them. I've felt probably everything that any Beatles fan, male Beatles fan, has ever felt.
It was a great memory of mine in his polka dot scarf at the back of the crowd, holding himself very proud of his boys, you know.
I never thought that they would be anything less than the greatest stars in the world.
Well, I did everything that I could. You know, everything, shouted from the rooftops.
What was involved there? Was there any one key that, you know, opened the door to this tremendous success they now enjoy?
Not any one key, but a lot of things. To me, in terms of popular music, the Beatles express a cross-quality of happiness and tragedy. And this is basically what the greatest form of entertainment is made up of. I have prepared a statement which I will read, which has had John Lennon's absolute approval this afternoon with myself by telephone. And this is as follows. The quote which John Lennon made to a London columnist more than 3 months ago has been quoted and represented entirely out of context.
How long do you think it will last?
Well, this is impossible to say. And it also depends what you term success. I think they're going to be successful, in my estimation, a lot of other people's estimation, for many, many years. But obviously it won't be the same kind of success. It's obviously going to be a matured kind of success.
No one else was going to stack up against Brian, in my mind. You couldn't have the flair, the panache, the wit, the intelligence that Brian had. They would just merely be money managers. Brian was far more than that.
More our friend than anything else. Brian was a friend of ours.
It's hard to think of things to say, but he was just a beautiful fella, and it's terrible.
What are your plans now?
Well, we haven't made any. I mean, we only just heard, haven't we?
Yes, it's much of a news to us as there is to everybody else.
Have you a tribute we'd like to pay to Mr. Epstein?
Well, we don't know what to say. We loved him, and he was one of us.